Hey everyone, it's Suzi here, and today we're playing King Arthur Legends Rise. For today's video, we're going to do another basics guide, this time talking about the origin of Apolleia. Alright, so I'm really behind on these. These are all stuff that was put out like a month ago from the official forums. And I only did a few guides, so you might have noticed I did a basics for Gorgos, Penvid, Yaskaleg, and I think Eldri. But I kind of missed the other ones and had so much other content to do that I just kind of forgot to come back to this little series. But because the big task of doing an ultimate beginner's guide, I really want to take the time to plan and edit well. I figured for this holiday break, maybe catching up on some of these basics is a good thing to do because it's a little bit of a reminder, especially for those of us that have been playing for 50-something days. Maybe I forgot about some of the skills. Maybe we forgot about some of these synergies and we're just trying to push through with what we were already planning, but maybe a second read through, a deeper dive is helpful. And if you're a new player and you haven't really taken the time to read through all of the game suggestions and check out what the CM tips have to say, maybe this will spark some ideas. Alright, so Origin of Apolleia. This is the dungeon where you can get defense, life, and drain sets. Now, I would say this is not one you're going to focus farming too heavily because you really just want to get the materials for farming. And if anything, you'd rather just get extra attack and crits, I guess more so critical pieces of gear to help go with your vigor sets. Or if you have a DPS, for your DPS, an attack plus crit or attack plus the damage sets are really good. Attack plus counter is probably going to be your options. So this is going to be something you try to farm more. However, I do notice, I'm sure you noticed too, that a lot of the healers are, well, they're all HP based, right? So having some good life gear on your account is not going to hurt either. So in these dungeons, we get the material for crafting, which is going to be the most important thing we get. And then we get this material as well for crafting other similar support type sets. So here, as you go up, you're going to get better and better. Now, personally, I haven't pushed this one too highly because I mean, they're all pretty difficult, to be honest. You're going to notice I haven't done any 10s for any of these. And it's just a matter of gear. I haven't taken the time to farm these as much to get enough resources to do a lot of the crafting with the most important sets that we really, really need. But Apolleia, so this is a frost element boss, and it is night and squall. Keep in mind, our favorite Morgan is also night and squall. So this is amazing because it's going to give her 10 attack. And depending on who else you use here, I mean, you're probably not going to use too many others for this synergy, honestly. But Squall, Bedivere could be your DPS. Why not? But let's talk about the others that they mentioned. So here, boom. So Apolleia casts abnormal statuses on heroes, dealing additional damage or increasing status durations. However, when Apolleia attacks heroes with protective effects, the target hero gains invincibility. Use this to your advantage. Powerful attacks can be blocked by heroes with protective effects. So low-key, one of the MVPs is definitely Bodwin, who I am guilty of not yet building myself because he's just insane. He puts up so much. So he grants all allies share damage and defense increase 2. And his passive also removes 1 abnormal status from all allies. Like, hello. Grants all allies defense increase 3 for 1 turn when he has a chance to trigger this when he is inflicted with an abnormal status. Really cool. And then at the start of the battle, he grants a shield to random allies for 3 turns as well, which granting a shield is a protective effect, which means people are going to be given the immunity buff from the boss because that's how he works. So really cool. Like here it says barriers, shields, and damage sharing. So Bodwin is your go-to if you don't have a Guinevere. Of course, Guinevere can do the same thing. She can bring, or she can give shields to all allies as well. Or other, she gains a smaller one for herself and a bigger one for the ally with the lowest HP here. I really like that part. Where's the other? I really like her. Oh, wrong weapon. There we go. That's why. So the spirit, wrong game. Why am I going back to raid? I haven't played in 2 years. Okay, the storm element here gives all allies shield and then one to herself as well, but a bigger one to allies. That's what I was thinking of. I was accidentally on frost, but there you go. She's really great for this dungeon. So you really want her. You gotta make sure just everyone's faster than the boss you're fighting, which depends on what level you're doing, right? Also, removing of abnormal statuses. Again, Bodwin. He is huge for this. He can fulfill 2 roles in one. The boss is gonna put abnormal statuses on you, but he can prevent that or get rid of that, and so can she. But do you need to use Anya if you already have Bodwin in your team to be the person who's placing the protection buff? Maybe not. But yeah, there is other immunities for abnormal status that you can take advantage from Anya with, oops, wrong one. Oh, cleansing here. Where is the, haha, there it is. The basic attack allows her to do it randomly, but I think you'd probably rather rely on, honestly, the other buff from, or the other skill from Bodwin, even better than that, I would think. But yeah, Guinevere, very strong for this as well. She brings, oh, why does this keep going to the wrong one though? But yeah, she brings a ton of protection. She puts immunity on herself. This romantic reversal grants abnormal status immunity on your allies. So I think if you have a Guinevere, she's perfect for this. If you don't have a Guinevere, Bodwin is perfect for this. And then just use other healers and a DPS accordingly. So, of course, this is, as I said, Frost. So Spirit or Frost are going to be what you try to go with for this fight. So let's take a look at the boss's skills. You do have a wave that starts with these dragons that brainwash. So you have to take out the little wave of small dragonlings first. And then you have Apolleia. So what does she do? He do. I think she. They attack all enemies and chances to inflict brainwash in a normal status. So you really need to have a way to counteract that. You don't want to be attacking your own team. Silence as well here. And if the target has protection, has a 100% chance to grant invincibility for 1 turn. So interesting because it makes it sound like, wait, why would you make them invincible? The targeted hero gains invincibility. So this is the weirdest wording because here it's clear that your hero will obtain invincibility, but I was worried about this when I first started doing this because I was like, but you don't want that. Grant invincibility. It doesn't say to, I guess it's to the target because it's under this, but I kind of thought they meant the boss. So I thought you didn't want protection and then you want it. Again, some maybe not the best wording, but that is how that works. Silence. There's so much with this boss though. Look at all this. If the target has protection. Okay, here we go. If the target has abnormal status, chance to increase the duration of those abnormal statuses as well. So you have to be getting rid of or preventing the abnormal statuses, or it's going to keep them on even longer. And the boss places fears, which we know are super annoying. So ideally preventing them would be the goal. But yeah, brainwash, look at all this. There's so many skills here. Poison breath, because keep in mind the boss has like these feet, swords, all sorts of different mechanics that come out throughout the different phases of the battle. So here we have confusion, stuns. Yeah. So it's kind of clear that you really want to deal with that. And then yeah, the feat are give brainwash, silence, other abnormal statuses, stuns as well. And gains effect accuracy increases here. That's interesting. Even the right sword and the left swords are pretty annoying. If the target does not have protection, deals additional damage. So if you're finding yourself dying a lot and you don't have someone putting up a protection skill, this could be a big part of it. Huge extra hits here. I think this has the same... Oh, this has a silence. Okay. So, again, if the target has abnormal statuses, increases the duration as well. So not only just the boss itself, but these extra swords. It's just all about that. And they really do force you to use those mechanics that, well, are obviously very important, which I like that they have quirky mechanics very specific for every boss. So let's dive into this here and see what the CM tips have to say from the official forums. So, obtain defensive equipment with defense life and drain set from this dungeon. You grant protection effect to nullify Apolleia's powerful attacks. Add heroes that can remove abnormal status for a smoother battle. For sure. And this is where the speed tuning type stuff is going to come into play, is you're going to have to make sure that when which I'm so not good with yet, personally, it's just, my gear is not letting me have that many options yet, which is why we're talking about a gear dungeon, I guess, though. But, like, you want to make sure after the boss goes, you're then cleansing and using the right skill to do so, if that is the case. Not using that skill and wasting it, right? All right, the second equipment dungeon, Origin of Apolleia. So, clearing this dungeon is essential to equip your heroes with survivability, blah, blah, blah. And this does add in the other sets that you don't get from the boss directly with the material you get from Apolleia, and that is resistance and heal. So, heal sets can be really awesome. Honestly, I actually forged some of those early on, and the heals are so much better. But I still think most cases you're going to want a vigor set instead of a heal set, unless you're using a team that is jam-packed with extra vigor like replenishment. If that's the case, then you probably can get away with a heal set, and maybe your healers are going to pump out some serious heals. All right, let's continue. So, the boss inflicts abnormal status and deals additional damage to opponents. However, if Apolleia uses certain skills while the target is under protection effect, it will grant invincibility effect instead. To take on Apolleia, make sure you add heroes who can grant protection and remove abnormal status effects. As we showed here, this is the skills we're talking about here, granting invincibility if the target has protection. Recommended team. Interestingly enough, this is the super basic budget team with even Kalich isn't uncommon, but he has some quirky stuff as well, so it can be really helpful for this battle as far as the cleansing goes. And of course we have Bodwin, and it's healing. I actually use this guy in one of the adventure modes, right? So if you do happen to build him for this dungeon, which I don't know that he's going to carry you to the end, harder levels, but maybe in the beginning, you at least won't regret using your resources there, because you'll need to use them in, like, Adventure Chapter 6, I think. But yeah, this is a really great base team. However, this is talking about Arthur with his Storm Relic. Do note that. So if you don't have Arthur's Storm Relic, I really don't think I would suggest him here. And Arthur with his Storm Relic is more of an end game goal, because you really want to skill him up and level up the relic as well. So I don't know about Arthur, but let's see some of their other suggestions. They say Kalich can remove abnormal status from allies and grant additional recovery based on the number of status removed. Bodwin grants protection to allies through his shared damage and can also remove abnormal status with his passive skill. This team, a basic team, focuses on dealing damage with offensive heroes. So obviously K would be the main DPS in this case. A more advanced suggestion would be Guinevere. Anya, Bedivere, and Gillian, all with storm relics to be the strong thing against it. Now, I don't know that I would use Gillian's storm over her frost still, but that's debatable. Bedivere, storm, we don't have that. This is very advanced. Anya, storm. I think you could be just fine with Anya's base relic as well, right? Let's take a look at what Anya's frost relic or storm relic is. This is assuming you've gotten really lucky. Oops, that is not Anya. I just pulled everything. That's so funny. Defense, immunity. Oh, yeah. Removes 3 abnormal statuses. Oh. Oh, yeah, you do really need her storm for this one if you want to get extra removals. Yeah, because the frost relic is just not quite gonna cut it, is it? That's why I was like, is that... In my head, I was like, is that really all that we have for abnormal status immunity? If you use Anya? No, the answer is use Anya versus Apolleia if you have the storm relic. That's the real answer. Now that makes a bit more sense. I was kind of questioning that at first. Alright, Guinevere's passive and active skills grant protection and abnormal status immunity to allies, and Anya and Gillian remove abnormal status, along with granting critical strike rate and attack gauge charge effects. This team aims to increase Bedivere's firepower since he ignores defense, taking advantage of Origin of Apolleia's environmental effects. So this is not what most people are going to be able to obtain, but you could definitely use Bedivere instead of K. And you could still use him with the Frost Relic instead of K as well. Give it a try. Doesn't always have to be the anti-element, right? But Guinevere, Storm, Bedivere, plus, or if you don't have Guinevere, Bodwin, and yeah, I don't know. Gillian, of course, is a great healer and unit overall, and the attack boost is really good from her. So, of course, you could probably insert her into this as a support as well. All right, let's keep rolling. Do they have any other notes for us? Yes, bonus tip. The monsters and the boss are frost element, and environmental effects of night and squall are applied. So keep that in mind. Obviously, just trying to match up against what helps, and using people like Morgan is going to be huge. Morgan, see, I would put Morgan with her Storm Relic, if you have it, in that team, because she's going to put the drop defense and help your Bedivere or your K or whatever do more damage. And then the dungeon is divided into 2 waves. The abnormal status and additional damage effects get stronger the higher the dungeon stage. Clear main story, chapter 5, battle 6-7, in normal difficulty to unlock this dungeon. All right, guys, this was a really good effect. Really good overview. I'm really happy to go through these again because it makes me remember some of the basics that are so easy to forget. And that's why we're doing this basics series. It's a good reminder. It's a good deep dive chance to talk about mechanics and not necessarily just showcase a perfect team. All right, let's let this roll out to end this video here. We are going to play their video because I'm curious about their team synergy that they're showcasing instead of mine that's honestly a hot mess and totally not speed tuned at all in any way at the moment. But I love the graphics for this one. It's just so cool, right? Light Dragon Apolleia. So this team is the Arthur K. Okay, this is the basics team. So let's go ahead and take a look at this battle. So let me go ahead and speed it up because they're doing it at 1 times speed, and that is just way too slow. Let's go 2 times. All right, so we're attacking the boss directly, ignoring the right foot in this case. Let's see. The shared damage. And then when he attacks, he's... Oh, that's so good. I love it. Bodwin is definitely underrated. I think Odd1 gives him a lot of love. If you guys follow Odd1 Gaming's content, he loves Bodwin. and he didn't have Guinevere or Anya for a while. So that was who he built, and he could definitely do the job. Might be someone I have to consider. Actually, no, I want to use my Guinevere. I need an excuse to use my Guinevere more, so I'll probably continue building her. But the good thing about rares is that them and their artifacts, their relics, I mean, are so much easier to max out, right? So something to keep in mind. Again, you can see they're still targeting the boss throughout this stage of the fight. So they didn't show the first wave, that's just the little dragonlings. Ooh, so we landed some stuns. Saw that. Share damage. There we go. Adds extra recovery. It's a little bit of a risky team, isn't it? Look at how low their HP is. I like how they're showcasing a team that's like dying. I don't know how I trust their stuff here. See, I think instead of Arthur, there's a lot of other options I could do instead. And that's where I think just a Morgan would probably be just fine, especially if you have Morgan with her Storm Relic, definitely instead of Arthur here. But as they're going down, they're just going to finish up with a couple big hits. This team doesn't look as reliable, though. I think that's really funny. But you can see the mechanics of what they're choosing to do here. Like, they are choosing to attack the boss even when those other swords come out as well. Which hopefully by that point you've almost killed the boss, or else this team would be almost screwed. That was an interesting little watch. That was an early on dungeon. I don't know that that would have been my choice. But hey, it's a possibility to get you started early at least, and then you can replace some of these characters with better ones. But I think the MVP of the recommended team is definitely Bodwin. Absolutely worth considering for this dungeon. But alright guys, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. If you guys are struggling versus any of the other dungeons, be sure to check out my other basics videos. I've covered some of the others, and there will be more to come on this channel. Stay tuned for more.